What's good? It's Sam here. Start off, I want to make sure you press that like button because it really does help me out. It tells Google's algorithm to put this video in front of more people. The more people who like it or even dislike it actually does help. Anyway, I wanted to talk about your credit history and my experience getting something removed from my credit history that was inaccurate. So I was going to purchase a house, and I called the lender that calls themselves the biggest in the country. Starts with a Q, ends with a N. If you know what I'm talking about. And I had worked with them in the past, and their customer service was great. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll call them again. So I called, and they ran my credit without asking or my authorization. So a few days later, I decided, well, I'm in the process of purchasing a house. I want to check my credit, and I monitor it anyway, probably 1 to 2 times a month. And I saw that it showed up on there, except for it didn't come up with this national mortgage lender. It came up with a different name. I wasn't sure what it was. And that was on a weekend. On Monday, I called TransUnion and reported it, and I put a freeze, I think it's called, on my credit, so that no more credit can be offered from my social. And then what TransUnion does is they transmit that to the other 2 bureaus, Equifax and whatever the third one is. I'm sure somebody down below in the comments can let us know what the third credit reporting agency is. And then I got more information on the company and found out that it was this national lender. So then I called the national lender, and I talked to a representative, the customer service representative for fraud when you call, and then I talked to his boss and let them know, because they record all their lines. So the representative that I talked to, first of all, I didn't give them any of my information, so they had my information from 2017 when I was going to get a mortgage through them, and then I decided not to get it through them. But I had done a pre-approval through them, so they had all my information. I called, and the representative that I just wanted to know from a documentation standpoint, hey, what do you need, in terms of for my taxes, pay stubs, bank statements, what's all the information you need so that when I'm ready to get pre-approved, I'll have it ready to go. And I got that information after several tries because they just kept asking me other types of questions. And I finally got that information. And that was maybe on a Monday or Tuesday. The following weekend is when I checked my credit and showed up on there. The representative followed up with me during the week, and when I talked to her, the representative actually was not licensed in the state of Massachusetts. So 2 things here. You have somebody running my credit without my explicit authorization, which is illegal to do. And then you have another person who is not registered with the NMLS in the state of Massachusetts. So they're not licensed to do work or talk about mortgages in the state of Massachusetts. So that's illegal to do as well here in the United States. So you have both of those things. And I knew this going in to talk to the manager. And it took them, he said it was going to take 24 hours. At most, it would take 48 hours. At the very tail end of 48 hours, he called me and he said it still wasn't taken care of. His name was Frank. And it doesn't even matter to me. I'm not talking shit about the company. I'm just talking about the experience I had. But it was Quicken Loans, and the representative from the fraud department, the manager, went through and said it was at most going to be 48 hours. At the end of the 48 hours, still wasn't taken care of. I said it needed another 48 hours. 48 hours later, he called me back. I don't remember if it was resolved then or a third call. I think it was a third call that was resolved. And now how it works is if you see something on your credit that was not authorized, so some of the, first of all, let's go into just an elementary understanding of what your credit is. So there's 6 general factors that are going to affect your credit. So, and you've got a low, medium, and a high. Very low, there's 2 very low risk things, which are the number of inquiries onto your credit and the total number of accounts, the aggregate of those accounts associated with your credit. Those are very low impact. Inquiries are hard inquiries only. So if you have a soft inquiry could be something like a insurance company, a cell phone plan, Credit Karma, and those are soft. Soft inquiries are not going to show up in your credit. Hard inquiries will go. So if you apply for a credit card, that's a hard inquiry. That's going to show up on your credit. Some of the things that affect your credit in a medium impactful way is the age of your credit history. So if you get credit at year 1, and then 2 years later you get another piece of credit, whether it's a loan of some sort or a credit card or whatever it might be, and then 3 years later you get another. From my understanding, the calculation is just going to be a simple average of the total. So you're 4 years in, let's say you've had one card for 4 years, you've had another card for 3 years, and then you've had another card for, say, you've had 2 cards for 3 years or something like that. So a total of 10 years for 3 accounts. So you divide that by 4, and you'll have, or whatever, you know what I mean? You have a total history of 10 years. You have 4 years. So divide that into there. Your average credit length history would be 2.5 years, or something along those lines. Google it if that didn't make any sense to you or was confusing, because I didn't really know what I was just talking through it in my brain. And that has a medium impact. So the longer the credit history, think about it logically, right? The longer you can see that somebody's paying their fucking bills and shit, or that they have had credit, somebody believed that they would pay them back, that is a positive thing on your credit. So that's how you can think about that. There's 3 things that go into a very high impact. Derogatory marks. So those are going to be things that are going to be reported, both public information like tax liens and civil like settlements. That's public information against you. That can be reported, as well as anything to do with a loan can also be reported. The credit card payment history, or just not credit card, just any type of payment history. So on a credit card, a house, any type of lending product, the payment history, that has a high impact. Because if you see that, every few months somebody's late on their payment, just if you put yourself in their shoes, would you see that person as a higher likelihood of paying you back on a timely manner, or a lower likelihood of paying you back versus somebody else who does not have any late history in terms of their payments? And that's a simple way to think about that. Credit card utilization, sometimes that confuses people. Credit card utilization. If you have 2 credit cards that have, a $10,000 availability of credit in the aggregate, one is $8,000, one's $2,000, let's say, and the total available credit you have is $10,000, and you're using $8,000 of that for purchases, then you have an 80% utilization rate. And if you migrate up in terms of the utilization rate of your credit, and now you're at 90%, then that means there's less room for error if you think about it on a holistic level, right? If shit happens and you have a $3,000 expense, if you only have $1,000 availability on your total credit that you can draw on is $1,000, and you have a $3,000 expense, like what's going to happen? You're going to stop paying some of the bills. If you have $10,000 and your utilization rate is 10%, $1,000, there's a much lower likelihood of you defaulting because there's more room for balance growth. if that makes sense. Let me know down below in the comments. So 10%, you have $9,000 to allow your balance to grow, versus if you're at 90%, you only have 10% balance growth before shit hits the fan. And so those are the 6 factors that go into your credit. Now, inquiries are just a low impact, but I still wanted to get removed. So I think it's the SAFE Act, which relates in the United States, a piece of legislation that governs the mortgage lending industry, and something along those lines. And in there, something to the degree of, if something is reported inaccurately to a credit reporting agency, the firm that caused that has 30 days to prove its validity, or it has to retract that information from the credit reporting agency. So that knowledge is what I went into calling Quicken Loans about. And so they have to they have to give me a letter that says, in essence, the inquiry onto Sam Stoltz's credit was not authorized, but they're not gonna say that they're guilty of anything. It's going to be more along the lines of, oh, the inquiry on Mr. Sam Stoltz's credit was not supposed to be pulled or something like that. They're not going to say that they completely did something illegal, one of their representatives did, and also was not even supposed to be talking about lending. They're not going to go into any of that. That's why I'm here to tell you. And so then they supplied that. So I'm not going to actually get that. That's going straight to TransUnion. And then it probably takes 30 to 60 days to drop off of my credit history. So it should be dropping off at any point now. I just wanted to let you know about that process and how it played out. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know down below in the comments. As always, make sure you press that subscribe button. Like, why the fuck would you want to see more of this fucking awesome face here and more of these fucking knowledge bombs? Yeah, mind blown, right? Press that bell button as well, and I'll see you soon. Peace.